Hello, hello. This is Yuri with Moving Sales Professionals and Let's Talk Moving podcast. And with me today, I have Richard Pegler, the new owner of the Mover magazine and also the owner of the Movers and Storers show event. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, all good. Enjoying the sunshine at the moment. So
Uh,
yes, definitely.
awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. So to jump right into it, how long have you been in the moving removals industry?
Interestingly, when I was looking at the Movers and Storage show and the opportunity to acquire that, I had an interesting conversation with my father, who pointed out that actually previously, a few generations back, the Peglers had been a removal business in Bristol in the southwest, pre the war, and actually had some photographs of that showed the kind of the family history. And unfortunately, that business ceased after the war. So which I didn't realize had that connection. So I guess truthfully, my first real folly was when I started to talk to Keith and Charlotte about the opportunity to take on the event and to take the event forward. And then I had the opportunity also to talk to some of their customers, some of those key exhibitors, and have conversations with them. And I thought it was very much a sector that yeah, my background of running events and running events and conferences in sectors, in trade sectors, lent those skills lent themselves to.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, I've been to quite a few events here on our side of the pond, but I've certainly enjoyed attending your event last year, and I'm coming again today, so I'll be there in person. So, for those of you guys are watching, Moving Sales Professionals, I am going to be at this year's Movers and Stores event in November, so I'm going to be there in person in the flesh, just like we were and I was last year. So, we're coming again.
And now for a word from our sponsors. If you're a moving business owner, you may have already heard of Moversville, an email marketing service that helps moving companies increase, repeat, and referral business. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services that cater specifically to the moving industry. You can find companies that provide moving software, moving sales services, marketing services, moving equipment providers, and much, much more. Visit moversville.com today to learn more.
Now, getting back into the other stuff. So now that's obviously answers the question of what has led you to the acquisitions for the movers and stores. But what are your goals and plans for the show moving forward? What are you thinking? What are you planning?
So one of the key things from my perspective was that this industry is very much a community-based industry. People come into the industry and spend a long time in the industry. They might move within the industry at times, but it's very heavily focused on that. There's a real sense of that camaraderie and collectiveness. So that was something we really wanted to harness. And one of the big features of the show is that networking area where you'll see visitors that have come, have seen the booths, done that their business they want to do, and then are renewing their relationships with friends past and present from organizations and so forth. So we really want it to very much to be a gathering of the industry coming together, not just purely a trade show where buyer meets seller, but there's a lot more dialogue that goes on. We're really keen to foster that and develop that. We're looking as we go forward to start to add some satellite activity around the event that takes place in November, but then further around doing other spring off kind of activities across the UK. So one of the plans one of the things we're looking to develop is doing single day events in certain regions, and building on that because as I say, the focus is about serving that community, and there's a collective desire in that community to do things. So we really want to harness that and really want to help foster that, develop and grow. And to date, we've seen steady growth each year in numbers, both in the sense of those participating and those attending, and we hope to continue, and we expect to continue to see that. It's an evolving market, so some people are going out at one end, but there's lots of new blood coming through as well. So that's something that we're trying to build on.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of growth that has to take place. I mean, I feel at least at this point, I feel like in US, the moving industry is a little bit farther in a lot of ways. And I feel that we're able to bring some of that to the movers and stores, which is why we're there, obviously. And we're the only company that does what we do that covers the UK market. Of course, we are an established company in US. We are a call center that does sales for moving companies, which is something that's unique and new for the UK market in general. But in US, there are other companies that do, I wouldn't say the same work because I do think that we provide more than anybody else in the market and in the field. And then what we offer more than any of our competitors do. But of course, the show is not designed to promote me, it's designed to promote you. So
No,
that
but sorry, but I just say that that's one of the reasons why we're really excited that you're coming back this year, and you'll
absolutely.
be there, and we're really excited to meet you because I think it's about sharing best knowledge and best insights, and in order to do that, you need to get the right people in the room to do that, and that's what our goal is to put the right people in the right environment to be able to have those exchanges of ideas and share that knowledge and insight. I think the minute you think there's nothing else to learn, then I think it's kind of time to kind of close the doors because there's always something to learn and things are evolving. Technology is playing such a huge part and it's so quickly accelerating that there's all those challenges and all those opportunities it brings with that the industry needs to get a hand on and grasp.
Does your company need more creative marketing and ad campaigns to improve traffic and organic leads? Well, Moving Sales Professionals has a solution for you. We have partnered with social media marketing agency that has over 300 million views on their ads and videos across social media. And they have generated over $35 million for their clients over the last 10 years alone. Their services include content creation, social media ads, pay-per-click campaigns, website and funnel development, Google Ads, email marketing campaigns, lead generation, and much, much more. For limited time only, they have discounted rates for their services. Sign up for a free consultation call with us via our Calendly link on our website or below this video.
We've had the last few years, we've had a presence from a group around sustainable vehicles, the Destination Net Zero,
Right.
who support us. So that's about the hybrids, the alternative fuel vehicles. The truth is that is the future and that is what's coming. It might not be what we all want today. It might not be the best solution, but it is evolving and it's evolving really quickly. And so we, for the last few years, have had a series of the manufacturers of those vehicles exhibiting and there to answer those questions and to engage in those conversations, because that is a change and that is a change that the industry has to look to engage with.
Right. And that's kind of the same thing why we're coming is because we're fitting a niche that where a lot of removal companies haven't probably even thought of the fact that you can actually outsource your sales. And you're not necessarily like, I mean, what does a person think of when they talk about outsourcing sales, right? They automatically thinking India, Pakistan, whatever, but that's not necessarily the case. So we are a US based company. We have US workers. We also have workers that are Europe based, workers that if they have an accent at all, it's a European accent. It's not an Indian. It's not a Pakistan. It's not something that's going to make your market in UK go like, oh, we don't want to talk to them. That's not what we got. So when a lot of people think about outsourcing sales, that's automatically what they're thinking, right? But that's not the case. That's not our focus at all. So with that, we're providing professional sales to the industry that's not exactly known for it, first of all. And frankly, most professional sales reps in UK that are based in UK would not necessarily think of removals industry or moving industry as a money-making opportunity. We're here to prove that it is, first of all. And second of all, we can provide removals men and removal companies and moving companies with services that go far beyond just booking a job, right? We're talking about making your customers feel like they're talking to somebody that's physically sitting in your office. We're there to take care of them from the start from initial conversation, initial inquiry, through the survey process, and through the whole move. If there's any questions during the move, they're talking to the same person that set it up in the first place, which is different in general. It's even different in US. In US, our competitors don't do this either. We do. We're the only ones that do. And at this point, we've been around longer than anyone that does this type of work in US. I don't know about, I wouldn't go as far as to say the world. I really don't know if there's international companies that are not English speaking that have a sales industry when it comes to moving and removal specifically. But for us, we're the only ones that do it, and we're the only ones that do it this way specifically.
So I think, and on to that point, I think we're seeing new entrants into the UK removal market.
Right.
What you're seeing is an increasing competition, and I think you were touching on there. It's about that customer experience and managing that customer experience, and I think that's something that possibly has not been challenged before, because there's been enough customers to go around, as it were. Whereas actually now there's more vying for those customers. We're seeing huge amount of activity with companies, and we're seeing those starting to come through to the show. So again, on that technology base around that, the Google Analytics and how to optimize things like that.
Right.
But it's one thing to get that data. It's another thing then to know how to engage with those people. So I think that's very much, again, one of the challenges that the UK industry.
And ultimately, your customers, they want to feel that they're wanted. They want to feel that their business is wanted. So it's like to me, it's unheard of to talk to a customer that seems to be interested in the service and then let him be for 2-3 days. That's not, to me, that's not normal. And that seems to be the norm in UK based on, quite a few conversations I had last time when I was at movers and stores beforehand. Since, that seems to be more of the norm, and it's odd that it is because it's not the norm here. We definitely want to make sure we get the business, right? So for our clients. So now, obviously, we can talk about that a lot. And my goal, once again, is not to talk about myself. That is not my plan. So let's shift back to you and talk about, now you said that, what is it, 18 months now that you've acquired the mover. So Steve Jordan is no longer the main man in charge. Richard Pegler is. So Richard, tell me about that. Let's talk about the Mover magazine.
Well, firstly, I'd like to reassure people Steve is still involved in the magazine.
Yes.
and will remain involved in the magazine. So obviously I met Steve as part of the process when I was looking at the show. Steve and I had a number of conversations. Steve had a previous working relationship with the previous show owners and of the Move and Store. And we talked about how we could evolve and how we could develop that and how we could make that work. And we shared a lot of common thoughts. And then obviously over the first years, we talked regularly, and it was apparent that, whereas we are, at the time, we were the independent show for the sector, Steve and the team were very much the independent magazine for the sector, and there were a number of synergies. And we sat down and the view was that, the opportunity was to evolve them alongside each other, with benefiting from a collective vision and strategy. And Steve and I spent some time talking about that. Steve bought into that vision, and we decided that it made sense then for me to put the show and the magazine together in the same stable, as it were, and start to bring some of that strategy to the same point and some of that vision to the same point.
Okay, yeah, and it's so. Speaking of that, obviously Steve had the way that he was doing things, and actually, this is the very last episode we talked. Steve and I talked about that. So, what is your vision? What does Richard Pegler wants to do with the industry and the mover?
So it's never been about revolution. It's as it was with the show. It's about evolving it and an evolution, and that's very much where I'm coming from. So the magazine has got a great readership. It's about how we evolve that and develop that. The show has a great audience and attendance. They don't both necessarily, all of them aren't in the same. How do we bring those two together? So we've got that collective volume. It's about the ability of content, the access to content. So we attract at the show an audience of suppliers and service partners in the industry. These are the people at the cutting edge and are active in the industry. How do we tap into that to drive interest and content and insight into that? And one of the other things that I'm really keen to do is for the magazine also to be there to act as a tool to gaining insight and more intelligence for the market. So one of the things we have started to do is we're starting to carry more statistical analysis information, so that people like Move Alerts 20CI supply us regularly with the stats analysis for the UK sector, and then that enables you to look at as a removal company, is you kind of then get some collective view that says, well, how are we performing? We think
So we're talking more about the ROI and that type of stuff.
So it's how so to enable the business owners to be able to measure their performances. There's no denying it. We had a terrific boom during COVID because everybody worked from home, and everybody worked from home, and then people took the opportunity to say, well, actually, let's move to the countryside. Why stay in a city in a 2-bed flat where I can buy a nice place down on the coast and work from there? And that's what happened. That was great. The UK market then had some ups and downs with various kind of government kind of actions and a change of government. So what people are looking for is to be able to understand where they sit in that environment. And by starting to be able to put regular analysis through the magazine, you can start to see that I'm in a region, and that region is saying that the market's showing it's growing and it's up and it's buoyant, and our performance is showing that, but it's better than the market percentage, or is it less than the market percentage? In which case, what are others doing that we're not doing? It starts to be able to give people those tools to start to insight and stuff like that. We think that's really important to be able to share that through a regular platform, and we are the only monthly platform, so we can push that kind of content out, obviously in the digital print format, but then also through our social media channels and the website and etc. So we've got this vast kind of distribution. As I was starting to say, we're really keen to do on research and stuff like that. So we want to use the magazine to be a vehicle to gauge the market's views, so it becomes a collection of opinions. So we're looking to start to do roundtable discussions where a certain topic is discussed. We get a certain group of industry figures together to discuss a certain topic to create a certain view, to share that view across the board. So it's just about evolving it and moving it and using the tools that are coming through. So a lot of the tech that's coming through, being digital now, we have the ability to do research and use the magazine to post research questions and things like that, to start to tackle some of those subjects there and start to collect that. And so we're just looking to evolve in that sense. And that's very much the plan. So as I say, not about revolution, just about evolution.
Right. And I think that that's important, because these days, what I run into a lot, I have a few clients that have been in the industry for a very long time here in US. And what I find is that a lot of them are really stuck in their ways and in the way, and they're getting, frankly, by being that way, they're getting in their own way of progress. Because right now, what I find, obviously with us being on this platform and talking about this and talking about social media, right, I feel that that's the way of the future. I talk a lot here about Warren and Warren's removals and the show that he has on YouTube, obviously, the Warren TV. And I talk about Joshua Pask multiple times as well. Those are the two guys that I bring as an example all the time, because they are engaging the new market that the modern men, whether it's in UK or US or any other part of the world, is engaging with more and more and more. And I think the best way to move forward is to engage your potential, not necessarily today audience, but potential future audience. Because if you're able to engage and if you're able to talk to potential clients that are 15, 16, 17 years old today, those are clients that down the road, a couple of years from now, they're going to be moving. A couple of years from now, they're going to be, going to colleges. They're going to be getting a good job, they're going to be moving to the city, from the city, across country, across the world for that matter, and those are the guys that are the future of everyone's companies, not just moving, just overall in global industry as a whole, businesses as a whole. You want to future focus on your future audience and on your future client, right? So I think a lot of the companies that are older, they're set in doing their advertising a certain way. They're set in approaching their clients a certain way. And in the past, maybe 10 years ago, even 5 years ago for some of them, that has worked, but not today. Today, you have new companies that are coming off the markets. You have new guys that got off the moving truck yesterday that are starting a brand new company today that have the understanding of the capability of social media, and they're enjoying it and they're enhancing it and they're embracing it and they're building growth and they're building audience and they're building future clientele that the old timers are not. And what's happening is that these new companies that have been in the industry nowhere near, they don't have the same moving experience. They don't have the same whatever, but because they're engaging the media and because they're using these tools more and more and more, they're actually bypassing the older companies by because the older companies are not in that age and they're reluctant to try getting into that age, even though they have the capability, they have the funds, they've been able to put the money away. They have more money, frankly, to spend on these type of things than the new guys. It's just the new guys are doing it more effectively and they're willing to take a risk. This podcast was something that happened with collaboration with me and my sales guy, Paul. Those of you that know him, he has been my right hand person with social media in a lot of ways. He does the editing for this podcast, and we talk a lot. And that's what happened. We were having a Christmas party, and he said, "Hey, how do you feel about podcasts?" And I said, "Let's go." It wasn't a long conversation. He didn't have to convince me. This is the way of the future, and you just got to embrace it. Whether it's with the Mover magazine or the Movers in stores or with moving sales professionals or anything else out there, we need to change with the times and we need to embrace the change. You can't, if you stay in the old things, you're not going to be able to move forward, and that's what it's
And
about,
I
isn't it?
agree. Absolutely. And to that point, it's like putting the customer, being customer centric and putting
Yeah.
the customer at the center. And and we're all customers or consumers, if we want to use that term, we're all consumers. And as a customer, as a consumer, we're using these tools ourselves in our daily lives. So you know, you expect to be engaged in a certain way. I grew up in a world where, almost with a wry smile that, that very much American, that, have a nice day, line was almost kind of, in the UK was a little bit of, felt a little bit almost insincere, but actually the reality is that's what people want and that's how people evolved, and you're seeing, and we see that trend come through. So absolutely. So to your point, with what I'm seeing with the companies that we talk to, the new startups, is exactly that. They come with a customer centric view and how to engage and how to connect with that customer. And if you can make the right connection, you can build the right engagement. Yes, ultimately you'll stand and fall on the quality of your service, but you'll get the opportunity to demonstrate that. Whereas if you just plow out lots of blind activity, yes, stuff will come, but you'll never get that. And it's about
And it
that
won't
ability to
happen as
build.
fast either. At the end of the day, you need to show them, here I am, here's what I can offer you. And today with social media, you have an opportunity to do that. If you're not engaging, you're never going to get to a point of actually doing the job and proving your service, right? And proving that your quality. But in order to get to the quality part and be able to do the actual job, you need to get through the door first. And getting through the door first right now, the best way is social media. It's not so much like with UK, what I find, and of course, I talk about this a lot. So I'm originally from Europe myself. I'm originally from Ukraine. So my mentality is probably in a lot of ways aligns more with UK than it does with US, at least in certain moments for sure, right? But at the same time, what I find is that with US, it seems to be a lot farther towards like a lot of potential clients. I never meet in person. I meet them over a Zoom call, over a video. We have a conversation, and they don't necessarily they're able to see me eye to eye through the video, not necessarily face to face, right? And I have plenty of clients that signed up to me that we've talked on the phone, we've talked on Zoom, we've met that way, and we engaged that business that way. I answered their questions, they answered mine, and we decided to do business together, right? While in UK, a lot of this stuff is more old school, and a lot more of it is well, at least that's what we call it here. A lot more of it is about a handshake and being able to see somebody eye to eye physically in person, right? And while I have nothing against that way, I'm all for it, which is why I go to the events, which is why I'm going to be in UK, right? But in a lot of ways, it's today in modern age that we're dealing with, a lot of it can be done through Zoom. A lot of that can be done through video, and you'll get the same results. Of course,
Okay.
it helps to meet somebody in person, especially if you're about to engage in something that you, to a degree, deem as a risk. The way that I opened up my company, I've always done this because it's my money and it's not my family's money, and I'm first generation American, and I'm somebody that came here from somewhere else, and I build everything from scratch. My parents still rent an apartment versus me owning my own place and my own house and everything. They're still in that way. So to them, I never thought I was going to own a business, yet here I am. And at the same way, it's like you gotta take a risk. But for me, it was always about taking a calculated risk, so to speak, right? So if taking a calculated risk means for you to meet somebody eye to eye, or whether Zoom is sufficient, that's something that you got to make a decision for yourself. But these days, a lot of that stuff is more modernized, and especially with new companies engaging in those ways, so like you got to deem which things are risky, which things are not.
Yeah.
What's worth having that conversation.
So absolutely. So to me, it's about that balance, isn't it? And as you say, it's the in person versus the remote, but underneath that is how you engage. So there's the method of engagement, whether I come to your house and have the conversation, or whether we do it electronically. But it's how you engage and how those individuals are made to feel, and it's about that and evolving that. As I say, we're all consumers, and we all now have a level of expectation, and it's about bringing that into the market and the industry rather, and seeing that come through. And there's, as I say, touched on earlier, tech is a big element, and it's going to play a big part going forward. We're seeing already this year a number of businesses around AI activity and how they can work with removal companies. I was at a storage conference, and a storage company was talking about how the use of AI is changing how they manage their sites, and how it helps them drive efficiencies, which enables them to reinvest in other areas, etc. So there's all this very exciting stuff. And so what we want is to create this with the show, we want to create an environment, a 2-day live environment, where all that thinking and insight and
Everything
thoughts come
comes together.
in an environment that's conducive for that, because you're surrounded by what you're familiar with, and to network and share and engage and exchange details and start to build relationships. What we want with the magazine is to be able, on a monthly basis, to put that content out into the market, take that feedback and evolve that and engage with that, and also start to add some things, as I say, look to start to put some of that into kind of research and into the market, and start to build some other analysis and use it as a platform that helps evolve the whole platform, and helps continue to drive the industry forward. And that's, is very much the vision we have for both the show and the magazine. And the view was, to your initial question, why it makes sense to bring those two together under one stable, because then you're
One
sharing
supports
best
the
practice.
other.
Absolutely, and sharing best practice across both, and and it gives you that whole picture, rather than one or the other.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Richard, of course, we can talk about this for many, many hours, and I don't want to make sure we don't bore anybody. Once again, we're going to put all the links here for the Movers and Stores event. Those of you guys in US, come check it out. It is a great event. I enjoyed it thoroughly last year, and I'm going again. And once again, like I always say, the world moves on its own, so let the professionals move yours for you. Thank you very much for joining, Richard.
And just to
And
say, visiting is free, so there's no delegate rate to attend. So so yeah, everybody's welcome. Just pre-register and your entry is free.
absolutely. Not for us, the vendors, but we're going to be there for you to provide you with whatever services you guys need. And I think it's well worth it to be able to be there in general public and talk to the movers and talk to the people that are in the removal industry. I think it's a great event. Like I said, I personally enjoyed. I'm coming back. So once again, thank you very much for joining us, Richard, and we'll talk again soon.